How you guys doing?
Tell me about the trip to the governor's mansion. How was it?
Man, that was awesome. That was awesome thing for the kids, the staff, just to be in the presence of the governor and his staff, and we told the kids, doing recruiting that's what we was going to do, because it's life after football. We got to introduce them to people that's going to help them after they take the helmet off, and that was a promise, and that's what Coach did, and we had a great time.
You were a legend growing up in New Orleans as a prep player. You went on to be an All-American at Nebraska. But Coach Orgeron has really brought back the pride of the state and really made that one of the recruiting advantages for LSU. As the recruiting coordinator, how do you guys put that plan into power, or put that plan into act?
Well, you got to put a gate around Louisiana, and Louisiana players going to come first. And I think Coach Rowe, that's what he wants us to do. That's what everybody on the staff's doing. And how you got to do that? You got to really have really good relationships with the high school coaches and the parents throughout the state. And that's what we've been doing.
And Coach, y'all have done a hell of a job recruiting. But I want to talk about the guys that are on the team right now, specifically your group, the wide receiver group. In that last Tiger coaching stop, Joe Brady had a very interesting quote about how, this offense will go as far as the wide receivers go. So a lot of pressure being applied to your group. There's so many names and so many guys that I could see taking the field. Can you kind of give us a hierarchy? Like, who's the lead dogs right now? Like, who's kind of the top four that are asserting themselves heading into camp?
Well, you're gonna start off with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Terrence Marshall. Terrence Marshall and Jamar Chase, two highly recruited kids. Justin, I knew Justin was a very talented kid coming out of high school. He had some academic work to do before he came to us, and he got it done. And then you go back to the bench. You got Racy McMath, that from Edna Carr, that's going to be great for us. And then you go to D. Anderson, then you go to Derek Dillon, Trey Palmer, Devontae Lee. You just got a number of kids. And it's a really strong group, a really talented group. And Joe B and I, we're doing a great job of just relating to them and putting them in the game when it's their strength.
Well, and so that was something else that was kind of interesting that was talked about, was maybe last year at times personnel groupings where guys were lining up had become a bit predictable and you kind of knew what to expect a bit more. Is there more cross-training going on? Like, are guys learning multiple positions within that receiver room now?
Absolutely. Coming in with the new passing game, that's one thing Joe stressed that he wanted to do, that, kids learn multiple positions. So that's what they're doing, So you're going to see Jamar Chase play all three. You're going to see Justin Jefferson play all three. You're going to see Terrence Marshall. They all going to understand that they got to play not just D, not just F, not just X. They just got to learn passing concepts. They know what number one receivers got, the number two receiver have, the number three receiver. So they're doing a really good job of doing that. And, just take your hat off to the boys, because they really, standing up right now knowing, like, hey, we go, the offense goes. And they putting us on their back, and we appreciate it.
LSU wide receivers coach Mickey Joseph joining us here, ESPN, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria. We talked to Joe Brady a couple of weeks back. Coach Insminger was here earlier this week talking about the impressions that Brady's made on him. You guys work side by side daily. We saw a little peek on it in spring drills. How's it been working alongside Joe Brady, and what's he bring to the room?
Well, you know what? It's been great to work with Joe. Joe really, really understands what he wants to do. He has a plan, and that's one thing I'm impressed with him. He's a young ball coach, and I tell him all the time. I say, Joe, you're really bright, and go with your first mind. This is what you want to do. Let's do it. And he has a plan, and that's one thing I like about Joe. And Joe relates well to the players, and Joe and I, we get along. We're always on the same page, and we have, like I said, we have mutual respect for each other. So, we run things by each other before we do anything. So, it's just a great relationship right now, and I think the boys really enjoying it right now.
Coach Joseph, we're talking to LSU wide receivers coach Mickey Joseph here on Off the Bench, 104.500, 94.7 ESPN. And, Coach, LSU has a lot of receivers in the NFL, and they always have kind of turned guys out into the NFL. But maybe on, like, the college level, the receivers haven't always had the most statistical success. Passing game hasn't always been the best. But despite all that, y'all are cleaning up on the recruiting trail when it comes to that position? And I know you can't talk about the individual recruits, but just outside looking in, like, what's the message that y'all are selling right now that these guys are buying into when someone like me might sit there and say, wait, why would this guy go to LSU? Like, their passing game hasn't been great. Like, how are you selling them?
Well, like you say, it comes down to relationships, and it comes down to, that we can get them ready for the NFL. And no, the passing game hasn't been on point, the last 2 or 3 years. But I think that the players that we're recruiting right now, they see it. We show it to them on film. We show them what we're going to do. And I think it comes down to relationships also, and they trust you that you're going to get ready, that you're going to get them ready for the NFL. And everything we do now and in the past was getting them ready for the NFL.
Coach, some of these rookies, wide receivers that we hear about, or just this rookie class, because we've heard about Derek Stingley, we've heard about Marcel Brooks, we've heard about Cardell Thomas, we've heard about the running backs, but one guy that's flown a little under the radar, and since he's been on campus, everybody I talk to seems like his name comes up, and that's Trey Palmer. You mentioned the talent that you have at wide receiver on campus already that's been in a rotation that has played. Where do these newcomers fit in?
Well, first of all, one thing, we stress in our room, you got to play special teams. And I think that helps with our room, that our kids are tough. And we're going to run down. We're going to tackle. We're going to block punch. But Trey Palmer's a very special kid, a very special player. And one thing about Trey Palmer that people don't understand, that now he finally gets to play receiver every day. When he was at Kentwood, he didn't play receiver every day. He was a DB one day. He was a quarterback. Then he went back to receiver. So now he gets to play receiver every day. So you can see the talent's just coming out. This kid's going to be a really good player here at LSU. And he's a really good kid, and he wants to learn. He's picking up the system, and he's going to play.
And I know when you were recruiting Devontae Lee down at A-Meet, there were some questions at times on what side of the ball he was going to play on. He eventually signed with you guys as a wide receiver. How do you like his talent and fitting into the room?
Well, he's a big boy. I mean, I think Devontae's 6'2", 225 right now, and he's playing the X position, and he's doing well also. He's picking up the system, and you can see him with the big body just catching the ball. And because sometimes people always say, "Oh, you get open with speed." Sometimes you got to get open with your body. Sometimes you got to just box him out and be a big body and do that. And that's what Devontae brings to the table. And also, he's got really good hands. He's got really good hands. He catches everything that's thrown his way.
Coach, when you look at last year, it was the most successful year in a long time. Top 10 for the first time since 2011. Hitting 10 wins for the first time in a few years. First appearance at the New Year's Six Bowl. Winning the New Year's Six Bowl. And you're not basically returning everyone, but you're returning a ton of production from that team. And we expect positive offensive changes when you look at what's going on this offseason. What's the message inside the building right now? Like how good does this team feel like they can be?
Well, Coach, you always talk to the team and talk to us about block out the noise and don't blink and next man up. And that's what's been going on. These kids are going to block out the noise because, last year, if you had to listen to everybody last year, we was going to suck. We was going to be bad. We was going to be 6-6. And like we told the receiver group, now they're going to turn around and say, you're going to be really good.
Yeah.
But now I tell our guys this, though, and I tell them this. I say, hey, we block out this noise and we do what we're supposed to do. At the end of the year, we're going to be successful. And that's what's going on right now. We're going to block out the noise. We're going to play hard, and we're going to get after people.
And when you look at the expectations for this year, Coach, and why they're so high, it seems like one of the reasons is Joe Burrow. Like, for the first time in a while, there's no quarterback controversy. You know exactly who the man is going into the year. Everybody we have on, we picked their brain about Burrow. What have you seen out of number 9?
Joe's the ultimate competitor, and Joe's a leader. And one thing the boys believe in Joe. And Joe can get him to do some things, and I mean he's just a leader. And what impressed me with Joe, and I tell people this, what impressed me with Joe when we was getting ready to play Miami last year, excuse me, and I don't think Joe knew everybody on the team. I don't think he knew anybody.
I mean, he'd only been there at that point, what, like 8 weeks maybe? Something like that, like 10 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah, and he was down in the lobby. He was the first one down in the lobby, and he greeted every one of his teammates coming to the meeting, getting ready for Miami. And you know what I said? I said, this kid's a winner. This
Wow.
kid's a winner because this kid's greeting every one of his players, his teammates coming down. He don't know all their names, but Joe, and then Joe's just a tough old kid from Ohio, and we lucky to have Joe, and we're happy to have him, and Joe's gonna do a good job for us. Like you said, we got Joe coming back, and you know who the quarterback is, and man, we just love Joe, and I love working with Joe. Joe's a great kid.
LSU wide receivers coach Mickey Joseph. That's a strong
That's a great story. Like I never had. I mean, that sometimes to be a great quarterback, you have to have those intangible leadership skills that you can't necessarily teach.
Yep.
Like I never had a quarterback do that. That's pretty solid.
What about Jerry Sullivan, coach, and what he meant to you the last 2 years, and just kind of being able to teach the position?
Well, you know what, Jerry's a mentor of mine, and Jerry, he taught. I learned a lot from Jerry. Just from the footwork on the route running, just how to teach schemes, and like you said, we miss Jerry here. He's with the Arizona Cardinals right now, but I learned a lot from Jerry, and miss Jerry. And I talk to Jerry, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and we still have really good relationships, and it's really really close right now because him and my brother, they're on the same staff right now, so we really miss Jerry. Jerry's always a phone call away, in case we have have a question, and the kids, they still talk to Jerry. Jerry's still much part of LSU football.
One thing that jumped out in spring, Coach, was that the way that you guys are kind of moving around Jamar Chase. It kind of seems like he has an Alvin Kamara type role in relating it to the Saints. Should we expect a breakout season from here in year 2?
Absolutely. I thought Jamar came on a scene last year, and as the season went along, Jamar got better. Every week, Jamar got better, and I think the light came on in the bowl game. And I said, you know what? I told him walking out the locker room, I said, hey, you got to be aboard today. And he said, I got you, Coach. And he went on a hell of a game. But Jamar's a very talented kid. Like I said, I've been knowing Jamar since he was 7 years old. I've been knowing Jamar and his family. Just saying, like I said, it goes back to relationships. And Jamar's going to have a breakout year this year. You're right. We moved Jamar from the backfield to receiver, to the wide side of the field, to the boundary. And he's, like you say, he's embracing the new system. He's loving it, and I expect a lot out of him this year.
Everybody looking forward to the fall, man. Enjoy your vacation, and thank you for the time this morning.